You know, people in the animation business have for years been saying that it's kind of a bummer that we're treated differently from the live action community. You know, there's a whole separate category, the Oscars, and why aren't we treated the same as everyone else? And animation is movie making, it's storytelling. It should be just like anything else in that way. Well, maybe that's come to pass. Maybe we've come to a point where there are enough people making animated films that we're just part of the whole landscape. And now that's what's different. People say it's too crowded. Well, maybe that's the result of the good thing that's happened, that more and more people are doing animated films. And that gives us an opportunity to see a wider range, more styles, more voices being heard in that way. And maybe soon there'll be a time when people don't think of animation as that strange bastard child that's this other thing, and it's just another way of telling stories with its own special way of being that people love. And I think that's a good thing. I think people should be happy that there are so many animated films being made. One of the things I always liked about working at Pixar is there was this sense of we won't let bad work go. That commitment to the highest possible quality because it matters what you release. That ethic, that idea that you care about the movie you're making so much so that you're prepared to eat the costs of having to do restarts and delays and work that much harder. I think that's a great point of view. I think that's the right way to be. Yeah, making animated feature films is the expensive and the complicated, the complex end of filmmaking, and there are a lot of people that it takes to make an animated feature film. And so delays and dealing with problems are going to be hard to deal with. They're going to be expensive. In the end, it serves the audience better to deal with those things and to actually end up serving everybody, the reputation of the filmmakers, the audiences who want to see the films, just to keep things good. When you hit problems, deal with them. They're complex, they're difficult, it's hard. Maybe sometimes it's a triumph of hope over experience. And the best thing is to give the bad news early and say, if something isn't working, say so. And that's harder for a studio with a big investment in a lot of people working on a major project to do, to have the certainty that something needs to be dealt with, that something isn't going right, and to take that difficult step. In the long run, it's a good idea to do that. It's always best to have a strong vision and a great idea of where you're going so that that is less likely to happen. I myself would love to see more mid-budget animated feature films. I think that's where more of the really interesting, varied, specific work is going to be. Someone would say, budget equals audience. If you've invested a huge amount of money, you have to have a very large audience. Maybe if you've invested a not so huge amount of money, you can afford a slightly smaller audience, and maybe the particular idiosyncrasies of the director's voice or the particular vibe of some strange idea that is actually really great and is wanting to be seen. Those kind of movies, if they're made economically, will get a chance to be out there. And that very landscape, the culture of what we, the audience, see, is going to be richer for it. I don't believe that a high-budget movie needs to be a boring movie or a generic movie or a cookie-cutter picture. The money spent does not determine how strong it is as a movie. I think it's possible to make really great pictures that are at the top end of the budget range. When you get to the top end of the budget range, it's a little more frightening, and people are perhaps more conservative because it's harder to make some of those difficult decisions. So the decision-making processes are the things that are difficult there, not the nature of the movies. There's an idea called a barrier to entry, right? For years, people have been trying to figure out how more people can make the animated films, how more voices can be heard, the technical means to make an animated picture have been getting, in some ways, easier and easier and easier. There have been more technological ways to make short films. And yeah, lo and behold, more and more people are making short animation. I think maybe we're actually living through right now the golden age of animated shorts. If you were able to reach out across the web and gather up all the short animations that are out there now, somewhere in there, I guarantee there's gold. There are pearls. There are works of genius that are just waiting to be seen. The trouble is getting seen. Yes, there's the problem of making a living, and that has always dogged the short film world. How do you make a living doing this stuff? And the only thing I can say is have faith if you really believe that what you're doing is good, or that you have in you something that's worth doing. In the end, there has to be a belief that good work will shine and will want to be seen, and people will come to it when it's made. There are new ways coming out of distribution. There are new ways of getting work out there. Maybe these interactive shorts on phones is one new way that an animated short film maker can look at reaching an audience in a market. And perhaps there are, in this huge accessible world of the web and the phone world, maybe there are ways that people who want to stay in the business of making short films can find enough of an audience to make it real and to keep alive. FMX is great. I love the fact that this is about the size that it should be. I go to a number of festivals and conventions which are just way too big, and yet this one is intense and about the right size, and some people from the top of the industry come here to talk and to share their ideas, and you can actually almost put your arms around the whole thing, which is a wonderful thing. Enjoying it tremendously.